By now, you've probably heard my magic wand story. It's a brand that's been part of my personal journey for more than 20 years. But no matter how many times I sing Magic Wand's praises, I'll never be able to fully capture the story of this incredible brand. Well, now journalist and author Kate Sloan just completed a limited audio series documenting the history and impact that Magic Wand has created over the last 56 years. It's called Making Magic. And the series chronicles Magic Wand's incredible brand story through interviews with nearly 40 experts, performers, business owners, educators, and fans. So I got a sneak preview of this series, and what I loved is that Kate weaves together snippets from all their interviews into this amazing story arc. She covers Magic Wand's journey from appliance store massager to its legendary influence on culture and sexual independence, and it's all just fascinating. The first episodes of Making Magic are available now at makingmagicseries.com or on all popular podcast platforms. Just search for Making Magic or visit makingmagicseries.com today. Thanks for listening to Sex with Emily. On today's show, I have my friend and life and career coach, Darah Wagner, dropping by, and we're talking sex, dating, and relationships, answering questions that I'm sure a lot of you have. Topics include soulmates, what you should be doing instead of searching for one, navigating the dating world, and why you need to do your work before being in a healthy relationship, what to do when you can't get past your partner's past, and what it's like to self-master masturbation. All this and more. Thanks for listening.
Into his eyes. They're the eyes of a man obsessed by sex. Eyes that mock our sacred institutions. Bedroom eyes, they call them in a bygone day.
Hey, Emily, you got a boyfriend? Because my man E here, he just got his heart broken. He thinks you're kind of cute.
A girl's got to have her standards. Oh, my.
Do women know about shrinkage?
Isn't it common knowledge?
What do you mean, like laundry? It shrinks?
Can we not talk about sex so much?
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God, it feels so good.
Being bad feels pretty good. But you know, Emily's not the kind of girl you just play with.
You're listening to Sex with Emily. We're talking about sex, relationships, and everything in between. For more information, check out sexwithemily.com. You can also follow us on iTunes and wherever you listen to podcasts. We love when you review us. That's amazing. And also, check me out on SiriusXM Radio Stars, channel 109. I am there Monday through Friday from 5 to 7 Pacific, 8 to 10 Eastern. And I'm so excited to be reaching so many more of you, helping you with your sex and relationship questions every night, you guys. So call me there. Check it out. We have a free trial on our website. You can also find me on all social media. It's at Sex with Emily across the board. And I really hope you enjoyed this interview. I think you're going to get a lot out of it. We'll also be answering your emails, so enjoy the show. Darah, before we get into the interview, last time I saw you was quite a night.
Such a night.
It was election eve, and the eve of Monday night before the election, and we were at this telethon for America that Ben, my guy, was executive writer on, and there was a lot of celebrities there that were just really getting people to pledge to vote. So we're in like the VIP area, and all of a sudden, Darah's like, oh my God, there's Jane Fonda. I was like, oh, wow, yeah, Jane Fonda. And then
Emily gets so cute and like bashful and shy. She's like, no, I can't go up. I'm like, what are you talking about? We have to go talk to Jane Fonda right now. Just like when you see a guy and you need to go up to him.
Okay, you're right. I've never gone up to like a celebrity though. So that was the first.
Well, first of all, you don't want to make them feel again like a pedestal. But, you know, Jane Fonda is a legend. So, you know, you and I were talking about it. Like Grace and Frankie, like she sells geriatric vibrators. Like it was a perfect thing. And, you know, there she is. She's drinking a Corona. She looks better than I do. Whoever knows who her doctor is, please DM me about that. And, you know, I went up to her and I tapped her on the shoulder. And
I'm like dying. I'm like, please, she's busy.
Emily's like so cute. She's like, oh my God, no, I can't. No, Darah, what are you doing? I'm like, listen, girl, I am an agent inside. I'm a connector. Let me do this. I'm like, hi, Jane. And she goes, hi. I'm like, how are you? I'm Darah. This is also my friend Emily. And she's, oh, hi. Emily's like, oh, hi, Jane. Hi, I'm a sex doctor. I do a podcast, Sex with Emily. Do you do a show, do you? Well, do people call in about dry vaginas?
I'm like, they do. Yes, they do. She's like, okay. Because I was like, you should come on. She's like, I will.
And then she's like, are you like Dr. Ruth? And I was like, she is. And she's also interviewed Dr. Ruth.
Right.
I just felt like your publicist, but I was just being her cheerleader.
It was amazing. I just want to carry you with me.
Oh, it was so much fun.
It was a fun night.
So much fun. I'm glad we were there.
I know. We got a great picture. I'm going to post it on Instagram so everyone can see it.
You looked great. So did
Thanks,
she.
honey.
Me, so not so much, but
yours is great.
it was worth it.
It was fun. I have Darah Wagner here, and I'm so excited because we met a few months ago and we've become fast friends, and she's got a lot to say about a lot of things, and we always have these conversations, and I said, you just got to get your ass in here. She's done a lot of things. She's a community builder, writer, storyteller. She worked in TV for 10 years, and now she's a life and career coach. Darah Wagner. Hello.
Hi, Emily.
Hi, Darah. This is so fun.
This is so much fun.
I already know before it's even started because seeing you always makes me happy.
Yeah, and I know we're official fast friends because everyone else I'm friends with that has a podcast has never had me on. So look at that.
Oh my God.
This is my first.
I'm your first?
I lost
this
my
your
virginity
podcast,
to
Cherry?
your podcast.
Wow.
Yep.
So wait, now you've been a listener to the podcast, right, before we met?
I have, yeah.
Okay. And do you remember what brought you there or what you learned?
You know, I remember I needed a break from all the crazy news and the podcast that really just made me really heavy all day. And someone said, you know Sex with Emily, right? And I said, I don't. They're like, well, you better. And I turned you on, and no pun intended. And it was great.
Like you are right now.
Yeah.
Right. And it was good. Okay. Because also today I want you to know that if you have any questions, I'm here to help you.
Oh, I feel like I've asked you tons, but I can keep going.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, tell me, how old are you? You know what I'm saying?
32.
32. Okay, you're 32. And what has dating been like for you here in Los Angeles?
That's a great question. How much time we got?
Right, we got all the time you want.
You know, I've been really lucky. I've fallen in love a couple of times. I've been in and out of. I've had fun. I've had casual. I was back and forth to Tel Aviv the last 9 months. So that was lovely. I'll tell you that. That's a whole different podcast. But dating here has been, you know, I'm a big believer that it just doesn't serve you if you blame your city. And I never want to blame Los Angeles for lack of a connection. I feel that there is someone out there for you everywhere. You just have to find that person. So I'm grateful to live in LA. I think that there are wonderful opportunities here. There are wonderful men. There's some terrible men. There's also some terrible women.
Right.
But it's been a little bit harder. I think sometimes when there are more choices and there are more distractions, it can prove a little bit harder to weed through who you actually connect with. Because that's really, at the end of the day, what I look for is who do I connect with on a spiritual level, our values, who am I attracted to? And I think all over the planet, that's less, unless you're in Tel Aviv.
Right. Unless you're okay.
Unless
well,
you're
we can get to that in a minute. So in Los Angeles, how do you find guys?
You know, my favorite form of dating is IRL, in real life. The most significant relationships and men that have been in my life the last 10 years, specifically the last 5, have all been like the universe put us together on, you know, we ran into each other on the street 3 years later after we had met. I had, met someone at a birthday party or someone and, I was set up with someone or we saw each other from across the room at a birthday party. Or most recently, I hit on someone at a bar when I had no makeup on. It was during the heat wave. I was in flip-flops post-beach day and was just knew I was attracted to him. And I felt so compelled to go over and say hi to him. And it proved to be a really beautiful connection that sadly was the wrong timing for both of us. But, that's my favorite form. But then, if you can't win them, join them. And that's where online dating comes in.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so what I love about you, though, is that you're always, from the second I met you, you're so confident in yourself. I know that we all have our insecurities, but you're just like, you go after it. You see someone, you talk to them, like you're very real. And you're very like,
yeah,
you know what you want.
Thanks, Em.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I mean it.
I try. I've recently coined the term, I'm unapologetically myself. And one of my best friends said that to me on her wedding day. She wrote me a note and she just said, I love how you are just unapologetically Darah. And ever since that, I read that, I was like, you know what? Fuck yeah, I am. That's me.
Yeah.
So I'm not here to be anybody else. I'm just who I am when I'm on a date. Obviously I know my audience, but yeah, I mean, if I feel energy and vibrancy with someone immediately. And if I see a man from across a room or we glance at each other, like, why would I let that opportunity go away?
So I love it. So you'll just go right up to him because there's still a lot of women who I think feel like it's their job.
Yeah.
It's the guy's job to come up to them or whoever else that we still feel like we want to be chased or,
And I will say that is Los Angeles and that is the West Coast. I think that is a very West Coast thing. I've been approached way more when I'm in New York, Israel, the South, Texas, New Orleans. I mean, I've been much more, there have been more quote unquote chivalrous attempts.
Right.
But I think men here are a little shy to be the upper hand. And I think that's bullshit. So, yeah.
I think it's right. Go for it. Go for what you
Yeah.
like. I think that's important. I think that is inspiring too, because I think there's a lot of people who go home and like, oh God, I wonder why didn't I give that person my number? I should have. Like,
Yeah.
why we don't, because you don't feel that often. I very rarely see
Yeah.
someone and think, oh, that person's attractive,
Yeah.
So, or I feel that connection. So when you do,
Yeah.
like, jump on it. So what about the apps? Have you dabbled?
Oh yeah, every single person I feel has, except I have one friend who will remain nameless, but I will send this to her once it's done. She has never been on an app, and that girl's always being set up. So if I could drink what she's drinking, I'm happy to do so.
Like people just say, hey, I want to fix you up.
Always. I mean, I get asked to be set up too, but I'll tell you, Emily, and I promise I'm not dodging the app question, is if you tell someone, hey, I know someone I want to set you up with, don't not follow through.
Yeah, you're right.
Of course, you might go back to that person and say, hey, I have this great friend, Darah Wagner. You guys should meet. And then he's like, you know what? I'm kind of into blondes who are 5'10".
Right.
And then, of course, it's not a match. That's fine. But if you know that the two parties are interested, you should absolutely follow through
Circle
on that.
back so they drop the ball in that way.
Totally. And so I'm constantly thinking of people who I can set up, who if I go on a date with a guy and he's not right for me, but I know he might get along with a friend, my friends and I have been so generous to do that.
Yeah, you're a connector.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What kind of relationship do you think you want right now?
I got the ultimate goal and then I got the short goal. I got the sprint and the marathon. So I feel like I'm always going to be in the marathon. And along the way, I enjoy those sprints.
That's the sprints of just like seeing who you like and,
Yeah. I've been more open than I ever have. My ultimate goals at the end of the day are to still, have a Jewish family, be that Jewish mom, but I'm open to dating men who, maybe weren't born exactly in the household that I was, as long as they're okay with that being the household once that is there and there. But I would be very naive to completely rule out a whole population of people that I have a very huge chance of connecting with. And at the end of the day, I connect with people that are cultural and vibrant.
See, I think that's good. So you are open then.
I
think
am
you're
open.
So here's my thing. Have you ever been on a date with someone and there was something that happened and you're like, nope, not my person? Like something they said or did?
Yeah.
Like your deal breaker?
Yeah, there's been a few actually. Well, obviously, who they voted for in the 2016 election, but that's a widespread one. Now that I'm a coach and, personal development has always been a huge thing for me. I've been writing in a journal since I was 11. I used to analyze movies and, write down song quotes and why did Sarah McLachlan make me feel this certain way? Or, why does Janet Jackson make me want to get up and boogie? So when a man says that he's never thought about seeing a therapist or has never wanted, like that to me that's off. And that's fine if like they've never had to, but someone who's not, like, if they think my definition of personal development is like woo-woo, stupid, like black magic,
right,
that to me is a huge turnoff.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you've never seen a therapist, that's fine. But if you are willing to grow and learn and be open to new ways of thinking and how can we make this world and ourselves and our lives a better place, that's a huge, huge deal breaker for me.
Right. No, I got you. I hear that. I used to say I can't be with guys who haven't done their work.
Yeah. And if I would have gotten paid for the personal work I've done in the last 5 years specifically, I would literally be sitting on a gold throne right now.
I know. What kind of work have you done?
I would say the biggest one is self-worth and self-discovery.
So tell me how you've done that.
Yeah. I think that when you come blazing out of college, you go straight into a career and you think that's going to define you. I was in television for 10 years, TV and film, and I loved it. And I'm still feel like I'm a part of it, just not full time. And, that defined me. And, that's all I wanted. I wanted the corner office. I wanted the validation that I had a big title. And then one day I had all that and it didn't, I had some of it and then it didn't fill me up. And so I had to completely restart, especially with that part, like, okay, who's Darah without the title? Who's Darah without, this story that she has to do this and has to do that to be good enough? And, that went along with marriage, and that went along with like, I have to have kids by 35. I have to be married by 30. I have to own a home by 29 or whatever it is. Those all went away because one day I woke up and I went, oh, what I thought I wanted is not what I have, and maybe I never actually wanted it. Maybe that's not why it's here.
That's a really mature attitude to realize that, because I think a lot of people always think once they get the house, the home, the job, the car, the whatever, the next, that watch, then I'm going to be happy. Then I'm going to be happy. Next.
Totally.
And what you're saying is that it really comes from within.
Absolutely.
You're talking about self-worth. So what is it, like self-love, self-worth, self-development? Like how did you? I'm holding my heart right now.
Yeah, no,
like,
I know.
How is the self-worth? Like what was it like there? Was it like, did you do different kinds of?
Well, I think you got to empty a jar with like stale stuff before you can put anything fresh inside. And so I had to like really get dirty and down and like put my bootstraps on to say like what defines me, right? And so I did a lot of like going back to my childhood, and my aunt calls me every day and leaves me messages how she is so happy I was brought into the world because I've made her life a better place. And I remember being like, how in the world is that true? How did I make this woman's life a better place? My parents are supportive. My sister and I are close. My nieces are my world. And I realized that it's just because I'm me. And so I had to go back to like, who was the essential Darah before all the other filters and disbeliefs came in and all these insecurities, and where did the story start where those things weren't like the headliners. So I kind of channeled like this like 10-year-old Darah, this like 11-year-old Darah, and realized she was always there. She's always been there. And it took a lot of like peeling back some of the old stuff.
Yeah,
and
it's like inner child work.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I think that we all go through life and we have so many things that happen in our childhoods, and that there is this pureness to us, this purity of being a kid. And a lot of times, things happen and we just kind of gets run over with whatever we think the outside world wants or our parents want or society. So it sounds like you've gotten back to your pure spirit.
Yeah. I've done, listen, I have great parents, but they got divorced, and then, they're
Where did you grow up again?
The Bay Area.
Oh, right. Of course.
Props to Alameda, California. If you've never been there, it's a beautiful little island.
It is. So they got divorced.
You're a San Francisco girl.
Yeah, exactly. In my heart, San Francisco. Yeah. Let's talk about, what about sex? So I gave you a womanizer.
You did.
I did.
You did.
And we're having some confusion around it because that's common. So I think it's good that we're talking. I wanted to talk to you about it.
Yeah. And I went home that night and felt like it was Hanukkah morning. And I was like, this is a little disappointing because I'm not doing it right.
Right.
And I wanted to Google, how do you use a womanizer? I almost texted you. And then I was like, no, I don't think we're there yet, but maybe we are.
Oh, in our friendship?
Yeah.
Oh, we are there.
No, I totally know we were, but it was late, and I was like, bet you and Ben were probably having a lovely moment. So I was just like, I'm gonna do the old trick and circle back on this one.
Got it. Well, it's the kind of thing where it goes, because some people have said this to me, and then I tell them, I'm like, oh,
right.
So I think it's more about you got to turn it up to that, turn it up to the higher speed. I gave you that one, and then it's like you use lube and you just put it over your clitoris. You tease yourself, and I know you're used to more of a vibration.
Yeah. Since I discovered that, and how to take control of, I'll never forget when I really mastered. We call in coaching self mastery. How do you self? And I remember when I self mastered masturbating, and I called two of my best friends from growing up who, are very sexually independent, and they're wonderful women, and they're both with partners, but They know what they're doing. They've been doing it for a long time. And one of my ex-boyfriends had just broken up with me out of the very blue. And if you're listening to this, thank you.
Right? It's usually you guys.
yes.
Yeah. Wait, let me just stop there for a minute because there's probably a lot of people listening who have that same, maybe they're going through a breakup right now. Maybe something's happened to them or they're about to break up with someone. And a lot of people stay in relationships too long because they think they're going to hurt their partner. And it did hurt you. But I think what you're saying is key. Is that as cliche as this might sound, all these things that seem so horrible and that they're ruining our life or you can't believe it, you learn a lot from these lessons, from the breakups and in a way you're like, did me a favor because it probably wasn't right.
No. And if someone's going to like absolutely not communicate with me and just do it in the way they did, I thank them. They did me a favor.
Right.
And yeah, you don't see that at the time, but you know, because rejection hurts no matter how you get it. If you're like rejected on the kickball team because I was wearing tights and a skirt growing up, or if you're like rejected by a dude, you know, I've gone on dates with guys who I don't find attractive and I've kindly told them, and I've had guys tell me that like I'm awesome, but like we're not a match, and that's fine.
Right. Do you tell guys that? Do you say I don't find you attractive?
No, I can't do that.
So what do you say? What do you say? Tell me what your thing is when a guy's like, I'd love to see you again, and you don't want to.
You know, I've recently talked about this with a lot of my amazing single girlfriends because we celebrate, commiserate, discuss our dating lives a lot. And there's, you know, a lot of my friends are partnered up and I'm happy for so many of them. But the more time goes on, they don't get what it's like now. So it's really important that you have a community when you're single of people to talk to.
It's really good.
Yeah. So, you know, I was just talking about this with someone. I went on a date recently with a guy, lovely guy with a setup, lovely guy, so sweet, so nice. And I knew that he would be a friend, and there wasn't an attraction. There wasn't a chance for an attraction. I just know that in my gut. I'm like a very instinctual human. And if they say I had a really nice time with you, I'd like to see you again, I acknowledge their presence and I say, I had a really nice time with you too. Thank you for the company. I'm really looking forward to continuing on as friends. Or if I have to, I say, I don't see a romantic match here, but you're awesome.
Right.
Thank you for the time. You have to see someone. You know, if you're going on a date, if you're, you know, at the grocery store or you're in line or someone is, you know, like picking up your trash in your office, whatever, you have to see that person. And the same dignity needs to exist in dating. And there are so many men who have not done the same to me. And so I make it a point to make sure that whoever I'm with is seen. And
right. No, that's great because I feel like the ghosting.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's awful. I've been victim of it. Like, my rule is if you send someone a text message and it doesn't prompt a response after the first date, you should actually still respond.
Yeah.
And then if no one reaches out for a second date, then it's fine.
Right.
But if someone reaches out, like I have recently, and said, hey, I had a nice time with you tonight. Thank you for the company. And I got no response, I don't feel seen.
Right.
I don't feel acknowledged that even those 2 hours that I spent with this human are no longer like in his memory.
Right.
And he could have said, me or you're welcome, me too. And then if I never heard from him, I wouldn't be upset.
Right. It's just disrespectful.
It's just disrespectful.
It's like we don't want to face it. We're like, oh, it's too hard to do it, so I'm just going to ignore it.
There's like a billion people on this planet. You're going to connect with, if you're lucky, 2 or 3 in your life. You know, no one thinks it's a love connection if it's not.
Right. It's a really good perspective. Like, it's not like this huge, we're not like, you know, marking new legislation or something and like things aren't on fire here. Like, just be honest and just get back to someone.
And if I could tell anyone who's listening, just remember that who you're sitting in front of is a human who has feelings, and you don't want to be the like reason for their misery the next day or the week after. Just be honest and be kind and gracious. That's all you need to do. That you don't need to marry them. You just need to say, hey, thank you for the time. I'm not interested. I wish you well. You're a good person. Just that.
That is good. What about the first dates? Any rules around that? Like, do you care if they plan something? Do you plan it? Where do you go? What's your typical first date?
You know, it's usually drinks. I have to say, now that I'm 32, I don't think day dates are good first dates. I've noticed when I was in a really, really, really crazy time commitment of a job, I didn't have time to meet people at night. I would ask them to meet me for lunch. And so I had a lot of first dates at lunch, and they were just like, I was
Right, 'cause
rushed.
you got to text, your boss call you, the whole
right.
thing. Yeah,
I was
it's hard
rushed.
to relax during the day. I don't even like lunch. Lunch, even with friends, I don't do lunches. Like, I
Right.
just don't. Like, I'm going to work, and then I'm going to go
Right.
and meet you later. That's
And you
how
know,
I
there's
feel.
that like old saying, like, you know, if you go to lunch with someone, you don't want to go to bed with them.
Oh, I've never heard that, but that makes sense.
I
can see that.
So I really do believe you gotta give romance a chance, and you gotta do it when the lights are out.
Yeah.
You gotta be in the dark. You gotta do something like. You can even go to a walk at night, whatever. But, you know, it's mostly drinks for lack of innovation, which is fine. You know, if a guy asked me to a drink then on like a local concert that wasn't a big deal, like a show at a, you know, music venue, that would be lovely. But listen, you know, it's my time and their time.
Right. It's
so.
true. No, I think that's good. I know what you said about. I mean, sometimes I guess if you have a connection with someone, lunch could work. But I agree with you. Like, be more relaxed, be on a different schedule.
Yeah.
I like it. What's your thoughts on soulmates?
Oh my God. I can't believe you just asked me that. I have so many thoughts on soulmates.
Okay, go. Tell me.
Oh my God. That's really okay. So here's a funny story. So I actually wrote into my favorite podcast, which
Besides
is
mine?
now over. No, Dear Sugar with Cheryl Strayed and,
Oh, I
and
love
Steve
Cheryl
Allman.
Strayed, yeah.
Yeah, I wrote into it because I wanted them to talk about soulmates because there are so many different definitions of soulmates. And actually, my favorite person's definition is Elizabeth Gilbert.
Oh.
And I believed this before she even said so. And I have a friend who's also a past life regressionist. I don't know if you would say like intuitive past life regression or what the title is, but you know, we went into my past lives and we talked about soulmates. So what do I think about soulmates? I'll tell you. So the traditional societal, what this culture says soulmate is that there's one person out there for you. And when you meet that person, it is destined. It was in the stars. You were meant to be, and this person is your forever partner. Okay. If you believe that and you're with that person, hallelujah, amen, mazel tov, Baruch
Right.
Hashem, that is fantastic. And I'm very happy for you. My definition of soulmates is we have many people that come into our lives that we're meant to meet. And sometimes they show us too much and it's painful and we have to leave and we have to separate.
Okay, but wait, you just said you don't really believe in it if you think there's one person.
No, I think that we have many soulmates. I have some girlfriends who are
many
my soulmates.
Yes, I feel that way too. I feel like people
Yeah.
come, you know, there's a connection. I don't really put a name around it in the sense, but there are people that I'm like, I know we're meant to meet, or they say like that saying, like people come into your life, what is it, for like a day, a moment, or a season?
Something
What's
like
that
that.
saying? Like for
People come into your life
for a moment or a season
and
or
stay with
for
you
a reason-
forever.
for a reason or for a season though. Like people could just be there for a day, whatever that. There's a quote. James
Yeah.
is gonna look it up, but it's like and I think
Yeah.
that's true that you can feel that whatever it is that connection. So there was actually a study that came out that says why you should stop trying to find your soulmate, and here's what to do instead. So it says if you believe in soulmates, like one person, kind of your definition, you're less likely to work through problems because this person was supposed to be perfect and everything was supposed to be easy. So when they're searching for this soulmate, it's like this never-ending quest to
Yes.
have that connection. You're like, are you the one? Are you the one?
Yep.
Are you the
Oh,
one?
yeah.
But, it says, that you, so instead of looking for the one, they say that's really destructive in a way because you're not, how are you ever going to find that? There's some ways they say to kind of find the people that you're looking for, if it's not a soulmate, but how to look for, instead of looking for the one, search for a relationship that's just really open and honest and healthy.
100%. And I think that, again, we have some people who are our soulmates and they bring something out in us that needed to be brought out.
So the suggestions here, instead of looking for that one, is make a list. So jot down the qualities. Have you ever done one of these lists? What you're looking for in someone
yeah.
can help you hone in on the right partner. So be really specific. So be very, very specific about what you want. Like which personality traits matter, objective traits like personality or religion, or just like what they like to do, and like get specific.
Right.
Yep.
And our friend Evan Mark Katz made me do that. And he made me write down, what do I need?
Oh, what do you need
And
them?
that was a game changer.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really great.
On a bus in Israel on our last day, that man put me in tears, but I do love him.
I love him too. So
Yeah.
what did you, because you had never thought about what you need.
Well, I have, but, someone gave me advice once. They said this woman who got married at 38, and she's fantastic. And she was this Swedish woman who met this Danish man at 38 at this conference called MIPCOM that I went to for years in France, TV Conference International. And she said, write down everything you want in a man. Write down, what do you want him to look like? Wow, what do you want him to smell like? What does he do for a living? What does he eat in the morning for breakfast? What are his parents like? What kind of dog does he want? And then take that piece of paper and throw it out the window.
Wow. Okay.
And I'll never forget that because, again, it was the penis on the pedestal thing. So Evan made me write down, I'm not going to give away his formula, but in some of it, he said, I want you to write down everything you need that you weren't getting in a last relationship. And that one's tough.
What, because it was hard to pinpoint, or it was hard
No,
to...
it's really hard to pin. It's really hard to identify. But how are you supposed to identify if a guy's going to meet your needs when you're having a drink trying to pronounce his last name?
Exactly. Right. No, right. How do you know? But I guess in general, it's more when I'm with someone that I love, or when I'm with that person, I'm going to need them to be supportive of me and my career. I'm going to need them to prioritize my family as much as their family.
Right.
I'm going to need them to show up, when I'm sick or when I'm sad. I'm going to need them to, some people say, I need them to pay my way, or I need them to finance my life or buy me gifts, So I think it is important that can be hard for us. I think that's great. See, I wouldn't have told you to throw the list away because I think those lists are important as long as they're not as rigid, because it's I think knowing though what your deal breakers are, if someone smokes, that's a no, or if somebody hates their family, or hates animal, I don't know, whatever your things are. So I think that is important. So I think, there's a lot of different theories around this. But
totally.
So writing it down is another thing. Observe that. I like this. So if you think you believe in soulmates, but maybe here's another outlet to find what you want. Observe the relationships around you. See, I've done this for years, and this is part of my show has always been because I love observing relationships.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to know, okay, why are you guys together? What's the secret to your success? What makes it tick? What makes it work? So look at those closest to you to find realistic and honest relationship goals, because we have such unrealistic, we don't even know it takes work. So seeing that couples are really, that they go through things and that things are hard. So, if you're close with someone, ask them what makes it work. Totally. And if they're divorced, what made it didn't work? I find this so interesting. It's kind of like sex, but we don't, people listening to the show, I know you guys are prioritizing it and you're taking it seriously, but we just don't often even think about relationships. We don't really actually do this analysis. I think it's so smart, especially in your 20s, 30s, 40s, whenever you're ready to find someone, or even if you're just dating and just sleeping with people, be an expert in relationships on your own. What's normal? Because I think we all have these, maybe we just think when we're younger, it's just how my parents did it or how my parents didn't do it. But we don't really know, what is real life healthy relationships look like and what are they doing that makes them work?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the other thing you're already doing here is prioritizing yourself. I can't emphasize that enough, because a lot of times we're searching for someone, which you were saying you did. I used to do this as well, is that we think finding someone's going to fill us up. Right? I'm going to find half a person because I'm half a person and then we're going to be whole. But really it helps to be a whole person. Not that we're not always doing work, we always are, but to kind of think work on yourself.
Yeah.
Do that work.
Yeah.
So I think all those things are important to fill that void already. So when you're ready to find someone, you're in a better place.
Yeah. And people think that once you're full and you're whole and you love yourself, someone's going to be ready to love you. I think that's an annoying statement. Love yourself, do your best. And that's what I don't think we say enough to ourselves and to even the people around us. Do your best, give yourself the benefit of the doubt. If you didn't do your best, forgive yourself, move on, learn from it. And just know that you're worth it. If you're a good person, you're most likely worth it. If you're a crappy person, that's the whole other conversation.
Right, exactly. And you might not know that you're crappy, but if you're not sure, take a look at that. No,
exactly.
I think it's true. That's one of my things I work on, is that I am really hard on myself.
Yeah.
Not anyone else, but
you're your harshest critic.
Yeah, we all are. But it doesn't serve you,
No.
I would never treat anyone sometimes the things that go through my head, that anyone else that way. So why do we do it to ourselves?
Right.
So, and then that's a really good counter to it, is saying, I've done the best I can. I've really tried today.
Yeah.
Today was a good day.
Yeah, today was a good day.
These are the good things that happened today.
Yeah.
Write in your journal.
Right. And when you come back from, there can be days where you come back and the guy was just rude or it was just off. You're you could either say, that was such a waste of time. Or you could say, you know what? I went for working on dating and doing my best. And that, maybe those last 2 hours weren't my favorite 2 hours of the week, but I did what I could to find something that's out there.
Right.
I missed a date. I went on a date last night with this very nice guy turned down dinner at Osteria Mozza with someone who was offering to pick up the tab.
Okay.
And a screening where Bradley Cooper was going to be in attendance. And you know what? I still came home and was like, it's okay. I met a new human, and everything.
Good for
it
you
works
for
out
not
the way
being
it's
like not
supposed
having
to.
FOMO.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm having FOMO for but I get
a little
it. You
bit
made
today
it
with the
sticky.
burrata conversation I had with a friend, but like
Their burrata. Oh my God, that's so good. We should all go there to my staff. Mozza, so good. It's
yeah.
right down the street.
Oh my
I
God,
love the
so
pizza.
good.
But I think that is such an important lesson too, to remember that we learn from everything. We learn from even a bad meal or a bad date or a bad evening out, whatever it is. You give a bad speech, that's happened to me, or like it's not as good as you want it to be. You can learn in every moment. It's an opportunity.
Yeah, and give yourself a little bit of credit, and just if you didn't like something, like, okay, I know that for next time. It's all right. I'll figure it out.
Good, Darah. I like all of this. Okay, guys, we're going to take a quick break to talk about some of our sponsors. So thanks for supporting them, and we'll be right back. Darah, you said that you had self-mastery in masturbation, and I can't let you leave without telling us what that means.
Right. Yeah, we were talking about the womanizer, which I'm still going to need your help on.
Okay,
so
no, I'll
after
help
this,
you. Wait, I want to explain, because people are listening. It's not that it's hard. It's that it takes a little learning curve, because it's not really a vibrator in a sense. I mean, it's a vibrator, but it has a different kind of pleasure air technology that's indirectly stimulating your clitoris, and it's more of like you press the button, you go,
Well, I think that's a good way to put it. It's not a vibrator. It's a sex tool to stimulate orgasm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not that that's happened
It
to me
uses
yet
pleasure.
there.
No, but it will. But we got some
Yeah.
other toys here you can play with, but we'll show you. We'll give you
okay.
some tips. Okay, so but tell me about your mastery, girlfriend.
Yeah. So, all right. So this guy broke up with me last year, and we had great sex and tons of chemistry. It was like, again, like a universe made us meet type situation. We didn't even meet in LA. It's a long story, but it was great. And then when he broke up with me, of course I was sad. And, when I'm with someone, you don't really masturbate as much. And, I was kind of shy about it before, but like, I would go in and out, and I called my two best friends that I grew up with, and I was like, guys, I'm so sad. And they're like, what's going on? I'm like, I really miss having sex. And I associate pleasure with ex-boyfriend's name. And they were like, girl, can you just for a second separate the two? Because the power of female self-pleasure has nothing to do with a man giving you pleasure.
True.
And as soon as she said that, I was like, I had permission. And it was so liberating. And I like went up to West Hollywood. I remember it was, there was like some not gay parade, but there was like some really cute, like all these gay men running in Speedos. It was like some marathon, and they were just like, it was so much fun. And I walked into the sex store. It was like right after I went to Body by Simone, and then went to the sex store on a Sunday morning.
Okay.
Great time to go to the sex store. No one is there. And I was like, all I want to do is orgasm. Just tell me how to do it. And he's like, great. And so he gave me I told you, like the little bullet thing. And like, I remember the first time I masturbated and the first time I had an orgasm since my ex-boyfriend, I just straight up cried.
Oh,
it was
yeah,
like this,
very
it was like
connected.
this release of relief that I could do it for myself. And also like, I know I like broke that tie where I was associating pleasure with a man.
Yeah. Exactly, honey. That's so powerful. I love your girlfriends. They were able to tell you that.
And they were like, Darah, come on. You were the first person to masturbate as kids. And I'm like, I was?
Right.
And they're like, oh, come on. My favorite movie growing up, and it's still my favorite, I can recite every single line, is Girls Just Want to Have Fun with Sarah Jessica Parker, which I often get mistaken for sometimes. And there's this scene where she goes on a motorcycle with her boyfriend. And, I was like, 9 when I first saw this movie, like 8. And she goes on the motorcycle and she goes, is it safe? And he goes, it's the safest thing you'll ever have between your legs. And I didn't know what that joke meant.
Right.
And I used to ride down my banister as a little kid pretending I was on the motorcycle, but really I was actually pleasuring myself.
Were you? You had an orgasm going down the banister?
I don't think I had an orgasm, but it felt very good.
Right.
And I remember...
Don't try this at home, guys, though.
Don't try it at home.
Right.
I was also super young. I was like maybe 11. And I remember I showed my girlfriends, like my big thing is I always make my friends laugh. And I was like, guys, you want to see my girls just want to have fun rendezvous? And I showed them and I like slid all the way down the banister, straddling it. And they were like, oh my God. So I think that image just like played in their head. So when I called my two best friends, they were like, Darah, you were riding down the banister before we even knew what our vagina looked like. So
you brought it back to yourself then after this breakup. And so now you are still self-pleasuring. I hope. We're going to give you some more. We're going to show you offline. We're all going to give you a little womanizer
and I'm
tutorial.
trying to spread it to other women who haven't had that quote unquote self-permission.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And it's funny you say that because a lot of what we do on the show here is give people permission. People so much want to know, like, is it okay that I want these things in bed or that I even masturbate? People just, we feel bad. We have guilt. We have shame. We have all these things. But you have permission that you're in charge of your own pleasure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. Every day that's a great reminder. Yeah. And so now, you realize it, like, and when you're in a relationship, out of a relationship, it's important to continue to self-love.
Yeah. And I think, I've had to give myself permission lately when, with all this crazy stuff in the news that's like really brought me down. Like the last thing I want to do is like curl up in bed and like go in my drawer and like that doesn't feel right. But it's also a release of just like, okay, everything's going to be okay. Your body is a magnificent thing. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you can do this for yourself, it's like, meditation and masturbation, it's like, please, like any day of the week, give me that, a LaCroix, a glass of wine, a This Is Us or Insecure episode, and like, I'm good to go. Yeah.
No, it's so funny. I have this new motto. I say I wake up, I meditate, I masturbate, and I manifest in the morning.
I
right?
love
I know.
that.
I should get a t-shirt.
Oh my God. Absolutely.
I know. So it's true. Like waking up, starting your day that way. And it's true. It's funny. I ran into this woman the other day, a friend of mine, mother. She's a widow. Her husband of 40 years died. And she said to me, she pulled me aside and she said, I have a question for you. Because she said, Emily's a sex doctor. And she said, my husband passed like 6 months ago and I still have feelings, like sexual feelings. And I don't feel right about it.
Yeah.
Because I have such grief, but yet I still have desire. Right. Like, is that okay? And is that normal? And I said, yeah, well, of course it is. They're so closely linked too, right? Like pain and pleasure. Yeah. Which is like kind of like what BDSM and all that's like, how could we love pain and love so much pleasure? But it's connected. Our brains, are firing in these ways that you could, it's like sometimes you cry after sex. So I think, masturbation is sort of this curing, healthy solve. I think that for so many of us, we don't think of it that way. And even you guys, as my job here, to masturbate, to talk about, not just to masturbate, but I sometimes forget too. I get stressed out or whatever. I'm like, and I don't feel like it, but I know it's good for me. It's like the gym. Yep. Like I almost look at my masturbation like that. Like I'm going to do it. And I've never once regretted it. I've never been like, why'd you masturbate? You could have been on Instagram. Why'd you masturbate? You could have left 10 minutes. No. It's just so healthy and healing. And it's life force. Like you're literally giving yourself self-love and a life force that is just circulating through your body and releasing orgasms and all the feel-good chemicals.
Yeah. And it's powerful that like you can do that.
I know.
Like, that's
we could do that.
cool.
You don't need anything. I mean, maybe a few toys if you like, but you don't need anything. You're right, honey.
You don't have to like scroll and swipe for the dude. You just can do it yourself.
You can do it yourself. And the more you do it, the more, first of all, you're going to realize the benefits. Because if you're like one off every few months, like you might not realize it. You'll still feel good. But when you make it part of your regular practice in life, like I'm going to masturbate, you can't help but see the changes in your life and the confidence it's going to build, body confidence, self-esteem, all those things. Yeah. And learning your body, what makes you feel good for when you are with someone.
Right. And think about it this way. A man masturbates almost instantaneously because they're in the shower or they just like, it's just easy. It's like this tool they already got. Women should have just as much permission and leeway to do do the same. I don't even like saying should. I just think that like,
no pressure.
Yeah. Like there's just like women, I hope women feel that they do have that permission. Like take a Post-it, write down, I give myself permission to masturbate and like put it on your nightstand because girl, you have permission. This world is ready for you. Just give it to yourself.
Yeah. I love that. Darah Wagner.
Thanks, so Emily.
Good. Okay, I have to ask you 5 questions.
Ask.
Okay, what's your biggest turn on?
Confidence and a beard.
Okay. Ooh, that's great because everyone has a beard right now in Los Angeles.
I know.
Your biggest turn off?
Arrogance and not being kind. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the sexiest body part to you?
I love a good chest and a back and a butt. Can I give you 3?
Yes, you can.
Okay, great. Oh, and arms. I love good arms. So basically everything.
Everything. What's something that you wear that you feel the sexiest in?
I love showing my midriff because it highlights my big butt. Oakland booty in the house. LA face with an Oakland booty. I feel sexy when I feel good. I could be wearing, like right now, look at this dress. It's long sleeve, but like I feel good.
You look adorable, beautiful.
Well, thank you.
You always do.
I would say showing my midriff and my butt. And like heels. I don't feel sexy in flats.
I know, I'm the same way. I started wearing like gym tennis shoes in the last few years, and I'm like,
it calls
it's fine.
For an occasion.
It's comfortable, but I don't feel sexy.
I feel my mom at my bat mitzvah says we're not short, we're petite. So I get you, girl. Got to wear those heels.
It's true. So what's more important to you, comfort or passion in a relationship?
I think a little bit of both is necessary. I think if you're too comfortable, it's not going to be good. I think if you're too passionate, it's going to dismiss and it's going to fade. So I think that, everything is good in moderation. I think at the end of the day, you're going to want to be comfortable.
Yeah. Okay, good. Darah.
Yes.
I love it. Thank you so much for being here. So how can we find you if we want to find you?
Ooh, I'm Darah.
We do want to find you.
I'm Sarah with a D. So it's spelled DARAH _ Wagner on Instagram.
Okay.
Find me
awesome.
there.
Thank you for being here, honey. This was great.
Thanks for
Good luck
having
to you.
me.
Amazing advice. And I'm so proud of you. You're doing such good work in the world.
You're the best. I'm so grateful to Ben that we've met.
Me too, honey.
Okay.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And now we're going to get into some of your emails. I love answering your questions, whether you call, whether you email. It's really why I do what I do. So if you want a question that's answered on the show via email, you can go to my website, sexwithemily.com, click the Ask Emily tab, fill out the short form, and we will give you a call. You can also just send an email to feedback@sexwithemily.com. All you got to do is include your name, your age, where you live, and how you listen to the show. And I've got my producer, Jamie, here, and she's going to read the questions. I'm going to answer. Hey, Jamie.
Hello.
Hello.
All right. So this first question is from Ty, 27, in Ohio. He says, I've been dating someone who does porn for about a month now, and we were very good friends before that. The problem I'm facing is that my mom and them had become friends on Facebook after meeting when we were still friends. Due to their porn Instagram being attached to their Facebook, my mom discovered that they do porn. She does not know that we're dating now, but was relieved at the time that we were only friends. If this relationship becomes serious, I'm very concerned about how to talk to my mom about it. Any advice would be greatly appreciated.
Okay, Ty, this is a great question because I get it. Maybe hard to get your mom to understand that, dating porn star, is just like dating anyone else. She has a job. You guys are hopefully in a good, healthy relationship. And it's not necessarily where her mom mind is going to take her because it's really easy to judge people, especially in this industry. I mean, I can relate. I was dating a guy a few years ago and his dad Googled Emily Morse. Then he goes to Sex with Emily and it's like anal August. He's like, so my dad just found out it's anal August from your website and I was going home to meet him. So I understand all of that, right? So parents are looking and they're making judgments and all that. I'm not a porn star, but I do talk about sex for a living. So there are some prejudgments. But once they got to know me, you realize that I'm good to their son. We were in a good relationship. It was fine. And it sounds to me like, your mom hit it off with her and they became friends on Facebook. And so I would think if you do get more serious with her, hopefully your parents will be able to transcend any preconceived notions or judgments and accept your relationship with her because they're happy for you. They're happy that you're with someone that makes you feel good. So, you can reassure your mom, your partner is like a normal person and that she does her work carefully and safely and that you feel good about the relationship and hope that she can also learn to feel good about it as well. And that you'd appreciate if she didn't have judgments around it. I think you just got to speak to her like this, like honestly and openly. And again, I know you're tripping on this, but it sounds like you guys just started dating. So why don't you just wait and cross that bridge when you get there? Okay. Thanks, Ty.
All right. This next one is from Caitlin, who's 20. And I don't know where she's from, but she's got a problem.
Okay.
Hey, Emily, I'm going to get straight to the point. I started masturbating when I was about 12 years old, and it always felt very natural, and I loved it. However, as I got older, I realized that the way that I masturbate is not normal. So I'm a little confused. I cross my legs and put something like a book on top of my pubic area, and I squeeze my muscles almost like I'm doing Kegels while I'm pushing down on the book, so there's pressure on my pubic bone and on my clit. I've tried masturbating on my own other ways, but nothing seems to work. I want to know if this is normal. Also, I want to know how I can orgasm with my boyfriend, since this weird way is the only way I get off. Any answer would be amazing.
Okay, so here's some good news here, Caitlin. This is not weird. This is not abnormal. You're not a strange person at all. In fact, I get this question a lot. This is actually really common for women to, first off, when they start masturbating, to kind of squeeze their legs together, and you figured out a way to do it, and so of course assume that this is the only way it can happen. So I'm going to tell you here, good news, it's really not the only way it can happen, but also there's nothing wrong with this at all. So it does make sense. A lot of for women, for us to have orgasm, we do require, most of us, clitoral stimulation while masturbating. But I get it that you haven't experienced another way, so you're assuming this is it, I'm set. How can a penis enter me if my legs are crossed? So what this means for you, Caitlin, is I just want you to do some exploring on your own. So you said you've tried it different ways, and I'm wondering if you could maybe try getting a toy. Would be great. There's some great beginner toys. If it didn't really work with your hand, you could try getting I Love the WeVibe Touch is a great toy. So that also can help some first time masturbation or some exploring, but also just mindfully masturbating. So try to start masturbating without the goal of orgasm. Okay. So the goal is just to explore, what else could feel good to me? Because I know in your mind, you're going, I know I just got to clench my legs and cross them, and that's what's going to happen. But by discovering that there are ways you can orgasm where you're still pressing down on your pubic mound, that's how a lot of women do it. And you still might be clenching, but also by using your fingers or a toy and lots of lube. Please use lube. Lube is your friend when you're masturbating, and really for all kinds of sex. So by continuing to stimulate yourself and to apply pressure in the same places, you're going to realize that by exploring your body, maybe playing with your nipples and seeing, the thing is your whole area, not just your pubic mound, but your labia, your clitoris, it extends, there's clitoral legs that extend, beneath the labia internally. So that's what you're stimulating by this practice. So I think exploring on your own and not giving up. So you said you've tried it a few times on your own and you couldn't do it. Just keep going, because I had the same concerns a lot of women do, but really just through this mindful practice on your own and then taking that in with your boyfriend, and showing him how you masturbate. It could be some mutual masturbation. And then when you're actually having sex with him, you're going to realize that a lot of it isn't so much that your legs are crossed, but it's more of you could still do your Kegel exercises while he's inside of you. And you can still be, whether you're on top, you could be rubbing against him, with your clitoris, your pubic mound. There's still same ways to get the same sensations while you're having sex, but it helps to practice on your own and then also practice when you're with him. So this is just a whole rewiring the way you've known, and you've been doing it for how many years? For 8 years. And just realizing that it's just kind of like a rewiring of everything that you're doing, but you can still have the same result, and that is incredible orgasms. So don't give up. This is fun work. It really is, and I'm telling you, I have get asked this question. I actually had this is the same way I masturbated.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, exactly. See, James, we're never done. We are never done learning. It's actually common for women. So I think, you just got to break out of the norm, the patterns, what you think is normal, and discover new paths to pleasure.
All right.
Next email?
Yes.
All right.
This is Becca, 25 in Houston. And this is interesting. Hi, Emily. New to the show, but love it already. My question is about a guy that started out as a friends with benefits, and now we're dating. Started that way because he had just gotten out of a long relationship. Before being official, I found videos and pictures that he still had of his ex on his phone. And I thought I couldn't get mad because we weren't official yet, but I did end up telling him it bothered me, and he has since deleted everything. However, now I can't get them out of my head. One of the pictures, you could tell she was tied up. Now he wants to tie me up, and I'm really turned off by it now, even though normally I wouldn't be. I'm not sure if this is just a personal issue that I need to get over, but advice would be greatly appreciated.
Oh, Becca. Okay. So you search through the phone. I mean, when we search, you guys, we're always going to find something. We're going to find something in the phone. So I would just say try to hold off on checking the phones, but I think we've all done that. So let's just get that out of the way. Also, I understand this, that you're thinking, ew, I don't want you to tie me up. You did that with your ex, so don't even try to do it with me. I want to create our own memories and have our own, sex explorations. So I get that. But if you think about it this way, think about sex kind of like working out. So what if your boyfriend said to you, hey, let's go to the gym, right? I want to go to the gym. And you saw pictures that he used to go to the gym with his ex. So sex is a lot like that, right? It's a lot like working out. I mean, it's not really going to change from partner to partner. He just might be into tying you up and dominating you. And that's just his style. Just like he's always going to go lift weights and he loves to have a partner with him. So think about it that way rather than it's this one-off thing that you can only have sex. Each person you're with, the sex has to be different. Sex just doesn't work like that. So if you can try to get them out of your mind, I know easier said than done, but maybe whenever you're going there, you go back to, you replace those thoughts with like, I wonder if this could really be hot if he ties me up. So my question for you is, would you be into it if he had not done this with the ex? Like, does that kind of turn you on, the thought of being dominated and being tied up? If your answer is yes, then my advice to you is then to think about it. Like, wow, I wonder what night he's going to tie me up, and like talk to him about it. Because a lot of times I think, he just said it to you, like, I would be interested in doing it, but it might be great for you to kind of ask some questions about it. So how would this go down? Or should we go to a sex toy store together and buy some bondage gear? I love, here's some tips. I love bondage tape. I haven't talked about bondage tape in a while. Bondage tape is so cool. It looks like electrical tape, but it sticks to itself, and you just kind of rip it off. You can rip it off with your teeth or your hands, and you can just use it to tie someone up. Have I talked to you about bondage tape?
You have not, but I did see some on Good Vibrations.
Yes, they do. Yeah. Everything we talk about, you can find at our website, sexwithemily.com. But yeah, it's really cool. So all I'm saying is if you are into it, then I think you got to get past the fact that, being compared to his ex, or he's going to be, because he's not going to be thinking, well, when I tied up my ex, she really responded this way. No, he just wants to, expand his sexual repertoire with you, and he finds this hot, and hopefully you do too. Now, if you're not into it, then let's, think about some things that you are into. And you could say, babe, I don't really want to be tied up, but I would love if you spanked me or gave me a sensual massage. So I think it's a great time for you guys to start talking about what you both want. But as much as you kind of put this aside with the ex and kind of spend that energy focusing on how you're going to make your sex life amazing with your boyfriend, Becca, I think you'll be on the right track. I know you'll be on the right track.
Yeah, it's hard to unsee stuff.
It's hard to unsee. Right. That's why it's all about reprogramming, rewiring whatever that thought is and replacing it with like, yeah, and then moving forward. Okay, guys, that was fun. Remember, check me out on SiriusXM Radio. The channel is called Stars 109, and it's starting November 12th, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. for more sex talk. It's going to be fun. We're going to have some new segments. It's still called Sex with Emily. So if you're on a commute, you live on the East Coast, it's 8 to 10, call in. I'm really excited. Tell your friends if they have Sirius. So love that. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Thanks to my amazing team, Ken, Sarah, producer, Jamie, and Michael. Was it good for you? Email me, feedback@sexwithemily.com.